Good afternoon, I'm Hector Aponte.
And I'm Michael Bunch.
And this is Each One Teach One, helping the new generation.
Brought to you by MSG Classroom 2017.
In Each One Teach One, we will show that everyone has valuable advice and lessons that should be passed down. What does Each One Teach One really mean to you, Michael?
Well, to me, Each One Teach One means educating the younger generation on something that the older generation already knows more about.
I had the chance to interview comedian Michael Che, who talked about his idols and what Each One Teach One means to him. Let's take a look. We're making a segment about Each One Teach One, about the younger generation. Talking to people like you, what they've learned throughout their career, people who taught you, and stuff you could give to the younger generation.
When I started comedy, I always looked up to the older guys like Chris Rock and Hannibal Buress and Dave Chappelle, and they were guys that helped me out doing comedy, giving me opportunities to do stand-up so that I could be able to come back to those same cities and sell tickets. So I think that's very important. You always have to go back and help people starting out because that's how you started.
I'm a 10th grader and I'm from the Bronx. Is there anything you could tell me that you wish you knew in 10th grade?
Yeah, but not on camera. Oh man, in 10th grade, I'll tell you this. In 10th grade, what I wish I knew at 10th grade is that adults aren't against you. They're not telling you anything that's against you. It's because they've seen it done and they've been your age and they're trying to help you. They're trying to tell you about something that they've seen 1,000 times because we all go through the same thing. I wish I knew that when I was 15 and not try to challenge them every time they try to give me advice.
Nah, yeah, my mom's gonna love this part of the segment. Any advice for the younger generation of comedians coming up?
Yes, I do have some advice for younger generation. Do what you think is funny. You gotta believe that it's funny when you're on stage because that commitment is what gives the audience the trust. That commitment is what makes the audience loosen up to want to laugh at you. But you have to do what you truly think is funny. That's how you be honest as a comedian.
I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but that never made sense to me because that's why they put covers on books in the first place.
What was more nerve-wracking, your SNL audition or your first time doing stand-up?
Oh, first time doing stand-up was by far the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. Just because it was so foreign. It felt weird. That perspective is different. Everyone's facing you and you're facing them. And you got this microphone and your voice is louder than everybody else's and they're all looking at you waiting. It was very, but it was also love at first sight. You know this is fun, you know? And then after a while, then it just becomes home. You do it so much that it becomes home. And that's another piece of advice. You have to work. You have to do it all the time. Everybody that makes it look easy has been doing it a long time to get to that level.
As a comedian, how do you use your talents to impact the community?
You know, with our name, people will come out for certain things, and if we could use that as a way to do something for other people, it's awesome. So, In the Garden does awesome things, as you know, in the same kind of vein. You know, anything that we could do to help is fun. And like I said, going back to your first question, which is great that this question is last because it's all about going back. You always have to go back and help the people because you never know who's coming up, you know, and who you could inspire and who you could spark, you know. So this is really cool to do and we love doing it.
I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to talk to Michael Che, one of my favorite comedians. Interviewing him was very eye-opening, especially hearing about believing in yourself plays such an important role in your life. This gives me so much hope that the future will always be bright with the right mindset and strong team behind you.
Thank you, Hector. Let's pass this over to Kareem for a segment called Giving Back, where Jaden had the opportunity to interview a New York Knicks alumnus, John Starks.
Thanks, Michael. New York Knicks legend John Starks is a great example of how Each One Teach One is represented in the community. From establishing his own foundation in 1994, which awards academic scholarships, to being a board member for the Garden of Dreams Foundation, he impacts many children and their families in positive ways. Let's pass it over to Jaden, who had the opportunity to interview John Starks on how he impacts many children and their families.
How do you think attitude plays out in a career?
Attitude is the most important thing. You know, if you got a positive attitude, positive things are going to happen for you. Whenever I used to go out there on the court, I used to always think about positive things and having positive thoughts, because I know that's going to lead to success of the team. And so I never went into a game thinking that we were going to lose.
We're down to 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Starks, yes! What a move by Starks, who was able to sky to the basket.
Make sure that you give 100% on whatever you do. I was taught that at a young age by my mother and my grandmother. No matter if you're going to, washing cars, make sure you have the cleanest car out there. And I think when you put in the work and the time and the effort, you're going to get the results.
What advice can you give to the younger generation in the real world?
Well, I think the most important thing is go out and be yourself first and foremost, and understand what it's going to take in order for you to get ahead in life, and try to be a trailblazer, not follow in everybody's footsteps. Try to go out there and create your own path in life, and when you do that, more times than not, you're going to be successful in life.
It's very inspiring to hear about Mr. Starks' ongoing dedication when it comes to helping others. Mr. Starks is heavily involved in impacting the future generation. Now let's take it back to Hector and Michael.
Great segment, Kareem. This really shows how one individual's efforts can influence today's society.
That's true, Michael. Another former New York Knick that plays a huge role in teaching the new generation is Walt Frazier.
His keys to success are a great lesson to pass on to students in need of the knowledge to achieve their full potential.
Frazier is one of many famous people that dedicates his time to helping others by being a positive role model.
Isaac had the chance to interview the Knicks legend. Let's watch.
When you were young, did you have anyone that mentored you or anyone that you looked up to?
Yeah, when I was young, my uncle was my mentor, my mother's brother. Many people have escalated me to where I am today by giving me confidence, talking to me, helping me out. Willis Reed was one of my idols with the Knicks. Bill Bradley, Dave DeBusschere, Dick Barnett, because I was one of the younger guys on the team, so all of these guys became my mentor.
Do you mentor anyone now?
Yeah, I always mentor kids. I used to go into school. I have my own Walt Frazier Youth Foundation. So I usually go to schools talking about the importance of education, abstinence from drugs and alcohol. I'm always willing to give back if people want to help themselves. If you're not looking for something for nothing.
I think you should give me some advice of how I can be as successful as you, or anything that you wish you did or knew when you was my age.
Okay, I have my Clyde's keys to success, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're old or young, rich or famous. The first key that you need is have a game plan. You got to know where you're going, because in life people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So after you have that plan, you need confidence. Like, if you don't believe in you, why would I believe in you? So confidence is the key to life. You got to believe in yourself. Time. Don't squander your time. There are only 24 hours in a day, so don't procrastinate. Use your time. Motivation. How bad do you really want to be as good as me in broadcasting? You got to have a plan, confidence, use your time, motivation, and a tenacious work ethic. Nothing can stop you.
Great job, Isaac. Mr. Frazier shared with us his championship-level experiences both on and off the court. That's a perfect example of our theme, Each One Teach One.
It was great hearing from Michael Che, John Starks, and Walt Clyde Frazier, who left us with some very informative and life-changing guidance to help kids like us follow our dreams.
Now, before heading out, we would like to thank Children's Aid, the Garden of Dreams Foundation, MSG Networks, and the entire crew at MSG Classroom for all their help.
Thank you, and have a great evening.